Hey, my lovelies. Welcome to my channel. So, if you are tuning in via YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or my podcast, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time out to click on this video or click on this episode. But most importantly, I want to thank you for checking into yourself today. Okay, so happy Friday to you. It is Venus Day, my loves, and y'all know, okay, we got that Venus energy also in the sun, right? Because we currently have the sun being stationed in Taurus, okay? So all about stability, possessions, love, luxury, all of the things where second house resides. Stability and possessions, okay? And also, we currently have the moon entering Capricorn, my loves, at about 12:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here where I am. So just depending on where you are, my loves, you can find that the moon is going to be entering Capricorn. So there's more of a call of duty to get things organized, structure, have a plan, making sure there's rules and regulations and boundaries that are being set, okay? And Capricorn's energy is really good for seeing the bigger picture and moving forward, okay? That's Saturn's energy, right? So we got the moon transitioning over to Capricorn. Now, it is day number 33. We currently have 67 more days left. And I do want to just make a correction because yesterday, when I did the playback, I noticed that I kept saying, we got 64 more days. We have 64 more days. It was actually 68 more days yesterday's video. And today we have 67 more days left. We're at day number 33 on the level up journey, and it is Friday, April 30th, 2021. Okay, and it's self-love Friday, y'all. And for self-love Friday, because it is Venus Day, because the sun is in Venus, right, we're talking about higher love. But within the high love, we're talking about luxury and what that means to you on any level, okay? So I woke up yesterday with the song in my head, Higher Love, by Steve Wilwood, I believe. And then I also listened to the Whitney Houston's version. And let me just tell you, that song just had my spirit dancing and jumping and bouncing, right? There's something new here in the air. There's something new in the atmosphere if you want to jump on it, okay? For me, I need to get focused and buckle down and really put some things down and plant some things. I actually have a deadline today to submit some things for my calendar and for my classes. So I have that to do today. Not even to mention, my love, that the monthlies are going to be all up at least by the 2nd of June. So you start to see them come out later today on Patreon, as well as on YouTube, okay? But they'll all definitely be up by the 2nd. Now, keeping in mind, my love, okay? So it's Friday, self-love day. We're talking about higher love, okay? And we're also talking about luxury here. Before we get into that, let's look at the sequence that we're looking at today within the date, okay? So the sequence for today's date is going to be 4, triple, not actually it's 4, then we're gonna jump on over to 3, double 2, 1, 5, and 6. So the numbers we're talking about today is 4, the double 2s, the number 3, the number 1, and the number 5, and the number 6. So let's just start out by talking about the 4th month in the Gregorian calendar. And if we're doing the ruling number of the day, it is going to be 3, okay? So the ruling number of the day is going to be 3. So today's date breaks down to 3. So that would actually be the ruling number of the day, which is on the mental plane. And this is a gateway to your memory. This is where you begin to tap into the mental aspects of your imagination, your memory, where you can really kind of be able to, I want to say, here is where you recognize that you have a spirit and that you have an ego. It is within the facets of the mental plane that you can begin to separate yourself, okay? where you can begin to recognize your higher self as well as your basic self. Okay, so the number three is the gateway to the mental plane, which takes you into the aspect of the mental plane where you can begin to cultivate things within that realm. Because remember, everything is mental, right? There's nothing that we can think of that we see that first was not created in the mental plane in somebody else's imagination. So keep that in mind, all right? So the number three is the vibration of the day. We are in the fourth month of the Gregorian calendar, and you also know that we're using three numbers for April, right? The number four, the number two, and the number six, all right? So when we jump on over to the number four, we know that's the physical plane energy. There's going to be some type of doing required, some type of movement, some type of action required as we are moving through the month of April, okay? And it may be also that has to take place for some of you as you're moving throughout your day to day, okay? Now you got to keep in mind, however, as we're moving through the number four, this requires some type of self mastery. You're gonna have to master something, some type of self alchemy. All right, there's gonna have to be some type of self, right? The number four also is the symbol of the square, and whenever I think about the square, I think about in astrology. You know, square represents an obstacle or a challenge, something that you have to overcome, aka something that you have to master. Okay, so you can think about the number four. As a doing number, there is going to have to be some type of movement, okay? Whether that is something that requires doing on the physical plane for you, the mental plane, or the emotional plane, there is going to be some type of doing required within this number, okay? Now, when we jump on down to, we did the number three, okay? So when we jump over to the double twos in the day, you know that the double twos, okay, is definitely highly sensitive energy. So you really want to be mindful here, you empaths, that pretty much for the year, with actually, let me just say this. Pretty much until we jump over into 2030, right, we are going to be vibrating on sensitive energy within the number two, all right? Now, within each month, within this calendar year, when we get to the 20th day of the month, that's when we jump into the triple digits of the number two, which is hypersensitive, emotional, soulful, spiritual energy, okay? So we have two showing up, double twos, which is highly sensitive energy, not as sensitive as it's been within the triple twos, okay, and some of those transits, because we had the triple twos with the full moon in Scorpio, which is very, very sensitive energy, highly potent energy, okay. So you want to keep that in mind as you're moving throughout your day, okay. Intuition realm is always available to you because this is the realm in which you understand, my loves, right? That it is to all possibilities you are granted access, okay? So your intuitive realm is connected to your possibilities. So that bullshit that says opportunity only comes around once in a lifetime, that is not correct. Opportunities can happen for you every day, all day, if you are tapped into your intuitive nature. And the number two is a opportunity for you to be able to tap into your intuition, okay? It vibrates in the soul plane where wisdom flows, okay? Love flows, okay? So you want to tap into that energy today. Now we're going to jump on over to the number zero, okay? The number zero is the number of potential, but it's also going to require some decisions and some choices that may pop up that you have to tackle. You can't run away from, okay? Because within making those decisions and those choices, you have an opportunity once again to tap into your limitless supply, okay, of whatever that is: money, love, health, joy, whatever that abundance may be to you, the individual, okay? So you want to keep that in mind as you're moving throughout the day also. Now let's jump on down to the number one, right? The number one is a number that vibrates on the physical plane, right? This is a number really that is going to require you to operate in some type of communication. And the communication that is required within this number one is going to be verbal communication, right? So this is where I like to say this is the number of intention, creation, right? So this is a number that you can begin to really tap into the creative force within oneself, including knowing the power of your words, because that's how the number one becomes an active creative force, is through your words. Okay, and your divine self, your higher self. Okay, or your super subconscious self, it requires nothing of you but just for you to acknowledge that it exists. And this is where you can find that energy on the soul plane, right? But within the soul plane, to be able to press that energy out in this physical realm, you have to come down to the physical plane. So you have the numbers 1, 4, and 7 that hold space on the physical plane. So within the number one, that energy is symbolic for you being able to use your verbal communication skills, aka your words, to cast your spells, your words, your spellings. Okay, now self-expression slash self oppression is what can happen here. The divine wants to be expressed, right? And the way that the divine can be expressed is through the ego. So the ego is not here for you to for it to control you. You are supposed to be bringing balance to self, understanding that the ego has a role, understanding that your spirit also plays a part in this, and understand that everything is mental and everything has a facet and a capacity in which it dwells. Okay. And so, realizing that the number one is the key to the verbal communication skills, but within that, it can also be oppressed. Okay. So divine always wants to speak. Okay. Your higher self, your subconscious self, just does exactly what is told. Okay. But your higher self, okay, your conscious self always wants to be able to communicate and tap into the layers of you that's deeper, or not, right? Or not, because some people on a conscious level can choose not to do that because of fear. Like, I don't want to do that because yeah, that's scary, and I don't want to try to do that. I don't want to do that because that includes feelings, and I don't really do well with feelings. Okay. Now, a lot of this can be found in the makeup of a person just simply through numbers. So, take for example, within the date today, we have an arrow, right? Within this arrow that we have today, as a matter of fact, let me just say this, because sometimes what can happen, y'all, is that you can find um, that you have um, because I'm looking here and there's multiple arrows happening here today. Okay, there's an arrow going in the date where you have the arrow of the planner, right? Now within this number, and the arrows happening within the realm of the physical, the realm of the soul, with the number physical with the number one, the soul plane with the double twos, and then you have the mental plane with the three. So within the arrow of the planner, that energy is really, how are you going to be expressing? It gives you an opportunity to express yourself, right? You can think of your ego as being your sun sign, okay? How you expressing yourself to the world. You can use your intuitive nature, right? Your innermost being to help you to bring that energy forward, right? Also incorporating your memory aspect, right? The number three, the analytical aspect. So you have one showing up here. You got two showing up with intuition, and then you have the number three showing up with memory. One is your communication skills. So within this arrow that we have here between the 1, the 2, and the 3, you can find that it can also be a little lazy, especially when it comes to details that the person has not created themselves. Okay, so what some people can find today is that you're not really so keen to pay attention to the details because this is not even your shit, right? So you want to be mindful of that, especially if you care about someone. Okay. Within this arrow is it loves order. It loves being able to have a method to do something. Everything has its own place. Okay, it loves being able to understand things. Okay, now that's a beautiful thing within this arrow, because you get to tap into all facets of each realm. Now there is some sensitivity also with the soul realm because of the double twos there, right? Now remember the double twos highly sensitive energy impacts. Okay, be mindful of that once again as you're moving throughout the day. Okay, now you also have the arrow of passivity showing up. Okay, so you also want to be mindful of that, because when you're passive, sometimes you choose, and that's where you're going to have to balance this energy too, because that energy of the passivity can bring in the laziness, and this also can bring in where um, you have one person taking, or you feel like somebody's taking you for granted, or somebody is taking you for granted, because within the arrows on within the 3, 2, and the 1, shows us that there is energy there for people to ignore other people's feelings and other people's thoughts and ideas, and what makes them feel safe, and what brings them stability in this energy. So that's showing up in the date today. Okay, so you want to be mindful of that. You got the passive energy, but you also have the energy to be able to plan things the way that you desire. Okay, now we also have the moon, like I said, in Capricorn, so that energy can help you there too. And I really got to start taking notes, maybe a little bit in detail about the planets that are retrograde, and maybe doing some things so we can kind of tap in even more in detail. It's so much energy out here, and so much things that I want to share, y'all, that this can take like a whole hour. Okay, and can be jam packed with information. So let's jump on over, okay, because we already broke the date down. Let's jump on over to the vibration of the number 6, which is creative and destructive energy. We go through that, and we've been going through that pretty much, yeah, for the whole month of April. So if you really want in-depth information, you can just circle back and refresh in the beginning where we talked about the number 6, okay? Um, Number 6 definitely is creative or destructive energy. It is on the mental plane. So what are you creating and destroying mentally? Because that's what brings forth things physically in this realm. First, it has to happen mentally, okay? Everything first has to happen on a mental plane. Then you fuel that mental plane with the emotional plane. And once you get into that emotional plane, aka that soul plane, what you begin to see is it starts to manifest on this particular physical plane. Um, I think I joked about Kelly and I having a conversation about quantum math, and I was trying to calculate something in my head, and it just wasn't adding up to the math that we, see and utilize here in this realm, right? And I was watching the show on Gaia, and I can't remember the lady's name, so my apologies. And I think it's an episode on Beyond Belief or something like that. And anyway, the lady was describing how math works in the quantum realm, and she broke it down so simply, which just made me think about the conversation that I had with Kelly, and how I could have been like going back and forth within dimensions at that time, because she explained that although 1 plus 1 equals 2 in this realm, in the quantum realm, 1 plus 1 actually equals 3. Now, if you are paying attention, I guess, on a metaphysical level, or even on a quantum level, you can begin to see how that um, can actually be, how 1 plus 1 can actually equal 3. Because in a quantum realm, they're not calculating um, uh, in a quantum realm, they're calculating the third one. So it's literally, if you have 1 and I have 1 and we're creating 1, now we have 3. Okay, so everything still falls back down to ones and zeros. So remember, everything and they tell you this in science, in the science, at least the science that they share with us, they tell us that everything is really numbers, everything falls back to ones and zeros. And when we go back to the formation of ones and zeros, we're going back to the formation of creation, that verbal expression and potential. And within that creation and that verbal expression, we have the creation of 1, the intent, right, the penis. And then you have the potential, the womb, the vagina, okay? When they come together, what do? They create another, they create a third, they create matter, they create life, whether it's plants, whether it's minerals, whether it's water, whether it's human beings. It's still the same cycle, okay? Everything is automatically connected, okay? So we live in a world really that's you can begin to look at it as a grid-like world, right, where everything is really interconnected. Nothing is really separated from the next, okay? So beautifully, as we're moving throughout today, okay, and it is self-love Friday, all right, and we are moving on a higher level of love today in luxury. I want you to think about that. Think about that 1 plus 1 equals 3. And if 1 plus 1 equals 3, that means that 1 plus 1 equals something different. Y'all hear me? 1 plus 1 equals something different. And in this time that we're in, you gotta think differently. In this time that we're in, you gotta be different. You gotta be unique. You gotta be yourself. Okay? This is not about trying to fit in. This is about being. All right, so in your beingness today, as you're moving throughout self love, right? Let's think about that. A higher love, what does that mean to you? Go look that song up, play that song, let it sit in your spirit. What does that mean to you? Abundance and higher love does not necessarily have to mean a physical body. It can just mean all the newness and the beautifulness that you feel. All of the beautifulness that you just envision surrounding you. It can be a mate too. It can. But you got to feel that love. You got to see that love. You got to give yourself permission to have whatever that is. You got to give yourself permission. We've been talking about giving permission. We've been talking about no more sacrifices. We've been talking about self-love. We've been talking about revising. We've been talking about reflecting. We've been doing this for 33 days, y'all. So as you're moving throughout self-love today, understanding that everything has an imprint. Even the day has an imprint as to the energy that it's bringing in. Today, the energy that is bringing in, the focus of the energy, or I want to say the energy signature of just the numbers within the date that they've given us, which is 4/30/2021, is reduces down to the number 3. So you're still in a mental plane today. Activate your memory within this number 3. When you activate your memory within this number 3, you begin to understand, once again, I'm going to repeat myself, that intuitively you are here. You are active. You got all the possibilities that they are available to you. Okay? But you also can cut yourself off from those possibilities in that limitless supply that is available to you. So you're going to have to make a choice. That's why that 0 is sitting right in there, y'all. That 0 is sitting right in there telling you, okay, potential is here, opportunity is here, but you're going to have to make the decision to step forth and have it, okay? So, speak your truth today, all right, on a higher level of love. Higher level of love. So whatever love been meaning to you, go back and reevaluate it. And then get it higher. Dream it higher. Feel it higher. Bring it higher. Change your hair. Step into your sexiness. I heard that song the other day in my spirit. I'm bringing sexy back. I'm bringing sexy back. Go feel yourself. Love on yourself. Give yourself a spa day. Pamper yourself. And if you don't feel like going out because of, everything that's going on in the world, you can give yourself a spa day at home. Call it a self-love pamper me day. Whatever you need to. Just give it to yourself. Buy yourself a new pair of shoes. Get that new lipstick. Get that haircut, men. Buy that new pair of sneakers. Whatever it is, whatever it is. Meditate. Paint, draw, write your poem, sing your song, play your music. Whatever that is to you. Step into that vibration of higher love today. Don't let nothing negative be able to penetrate your field today. We step into higher love. We vibrating on higher love, right? We vibrating on higher love. There's a reason exactly why the mental breakdown of someone can be healed through music. Why the emotional breakdown of someone can be healed through music. Why the physical breakdown of someone can also be healed through music. Pure, genuine music stems from nothing but love. Nothing but love. Now, the sources in which people use to portray their communication and the expression of the divine, or the oppression of the divine, is going to be translated through their form of music, right? But even within that, they have a love of music. Hence is why they choose to express themselves that way. See, as you're moving throughout your day today, I want you to think about that. How are you expressing higher love in your life? How is that being transmuted in you and then through you? How is that transformation taking place? Yeah, think about these things. Sometimes we think about the money, we think about the cars, we think about the bills, we think about the kids, we think about the husband, we think about all this stuff. And we don't take the time to think about the higher levels that we can get within self that then attracts everything else. It brings everything else into your experience that's needed. There are people that has millions and millions and millions of dollars and they're still not happy because they're missing that thing from within that they seek most outside of themselves through money, maybe through other people, fast cars, having the, most expensive name brand thing. Kelly is a clothes fanatic. I'm telling you, like, she loves clothes, vintage clothes, she can go thrifting and find a freaking $500 dress and pay $2 for that bad boy. She knows the labels. That's her thing. Is just passionate about being able to help people find their self within the clothes. I don't really care for any of that. I buy what I like, and if it's $2, it's $2, and I wouldn't know a $2 from a $2,000. I'll feel the difference in texture, but like if I like it, and I'm buy it. If it's affordable, and and everything now is affordable, right? Like I said, $500 dress for now $2. I would say that's affordable. So so you still can't even watch prices because the world may have to pay one price and you may not because you're vibrating a higher love. You can get things for free. Think about that. Vibrating a higher love, you can then begin to attract exactly the same amount of prosperity that you put out. All right, so move through your day. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Friday. I want you guys honestly to just think about the things we talk about. All right, y'all know the deal. Okay, so tomorrow is going to be Saturday. Okay, we're doing the live lectures on Saturday. For those of you that are attending, I'm super excited. We're going to go over some of the things that you're going to need to unpack a lot of the energy that's coming forward. So I'm super excited to talk about that. I appreciate each and every one of you. So remember, do not be afraid of the dark, okay? Do something kind for yourself. Love yourself. Honor yourself, all right? I will be back next Wednesday on the lives. My skin is starting to clear up a lot. I'm going to be back on the live next Wednesday. And you guys, I've been really showing you the lakes view within the past couple of videos, so I'll be back on camera next week also. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Once again, do something kind for yourself. Love yourself. Don't be afraid of the dark. And I will see you guys in tomorrow's Daily Vibration. Bye, my loves.